Welcome to the second video in our lesson on adding and subtracting decimals. In the last video, we looked at estimating and adding decimals. The focus of this video is on subtracting. So let's start with estimating. When we estimate decimals, we use something called front-end estimation, which means we cut off the decimal part of the number and then we add or subtract the whole number part. So let's have a look. For A, we would cut off the decimals and then just subtract the whole numbers. In this case, we would have 17 minus 12, which is 5. So if I were to subtract these decimals, my answer should be around 5. Now for B, we would have 45 minus 29, which is 16. And C, we would have 24 minus 3, giving us an estimate of 21. So now let's go ahead and subtract. So we'll start by estimating. For A, we would just have 7 subtract 7, which is 0. So let's see if we get an answer around 0. Now when we subtract, we do the same thing as addition, and we line up the decimals vertically. So I would write 7.91 and then 7.2 directly underneath it like this. So we have one decimal under the other. Now when we add or subtract decimals, it's nice to fill in any empty spaces with zeros. This helps ensure I'm adding and subtracting the correct place values. So now starting on the right, I'll do 1 take away 0, which is 1. 9 take away 2, which is 7. Bring down my decimal. And then 7 take away 7 is 0. Now comparing that with my estimate, I see that our answer is reasonable. Now for B, we have to subtract 3 numbers. So when you subtract 3 numbers, you just do 2 at a time. So we'll start with 21.6, take away 3.5, and then we'll take that answer and then subtract 4.2. So let's start with our estimate. Here we would have 21 minus 3 minus 4. Now 21 minus 3 is 18, and then 18 subtract 4 is 14. So now let's see what we get. We would have 21.6 subtract 3.5. Again, notice how the decimals are lined up. Now starting on the right, I would have 6 take away 5, which is 1. Then I would write my decimal. Now here I can't do 1 take away 3, so we have to borrow from the tens place. So let's take away a 10 from the 2 to make that 1. And now this becomes 11. 11 take away 3 is 8. And then 1 take away 0 is 1. So now let's do 18.1 subtract 4.2. Now here we have another case where we're going to have to borrow because I have 1 take away 2. So let's borrow from the 8 to make that 7, and then this becomes 11. 11 take away 2 is 9. Write my decimal. 7 take away 4 is 3, and then we have 1 take away 0 is 1. So comparing that with our estimate, we can see that that is very close. So that is how you can subtract decimals. You can now move on to the next video in this lesson.